Hi everyone, it's Jael Rothstein here, author of the Heaven Sent series. My book Atonement is out now. You can find it on Amazon or you can go to my website at jaelrothstein.com. I am so excited. Thank you for joining me. Today I have author Victor Torvich. Welcome to the show, Victor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this interview with me.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk to you. So you have a new book that you have written that you are working to have published called The Subsurface History of Humanity. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
This is a non-narrative, non-fiction history book. I could say it is probably in popular science category. The book is about my search and results of my search for one really big question. Does humankind have any direction in its development? I have no idea how many people in the history of mankind tried to answer this question, but so far nobody was successful. I did it. I found the direction. It is an objective direction, and it shows an actual route in which we ran for many, many thousands of years, and in which we are heading into the future.
Excellent. So is that what inspired you to write the book, was the fact that everyone asks this question, but there was no answer?
Actually, no. I have I didn't have any inclination to write any book about anything. So of course, I love history. I have a lot of history books in my home library, fiction and non-fiction, but those books were not inspiration for me. I could say there were two triggers. The first trigger was that in September of last year, I retired from my last job. So I have to figure out what to do with my life as a retiree to make any sense from it.
Yeah.
And I started to think about something. And that something was ideas which were presented in a great book written by Ray Kurzweil. The title of the book is Singularity is Near. The subtitle is When Humans Transcend Biology. In his book, Ray revealed a lot of historical trends in which mankind is running and probably will run into the future. But he talked mostly about technology. While thinking about his book, I realized that I could have answers to questions he even didn't ask in his book. Mm-hmm. And I started to write. And very soon I realized that it should take a form of the book. We could say that thinking about the future inspired me to write about the past.
Well, I was going to say, this is not exactly what people do in retirement, Victor. I have to tell you, they don't set out to write these types of works. And what can you tell the audience a little, because most of the people that I've had on have been fiction writers, myself included. So when we do research, or when we use the word research, it's nothing like what you're referring to. And for your many years in physics, you know, what was the research to go into a book like this? How long have you been working on the book?
Yeah, I was working on the book since September last year.
Yep.
And research process is very interesting. You know what is typical advice for authors? Typical advice is to separate writing research phase from writing phase and writing phase from editing phase, right?
Yep.
We all have this advice and I tried to follow it, but it was not always possible for me to do. Sometimes when I did my research, I found some new facts which support what I already wrote. But there were several occasions when during research I found some facts which forced me to rewrite what I already wrote and choose a different path in my writing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was back and forth. I have to go back and forth. I could not separate writing phase from research phase. The second issue with my research was very different. If you are writing a scientific article or a scientific book, you need to provide a lot of references. For
Yeah.
every item for discussion, you have to cite at least several sources. But for my book is for general public. It is, I aim this book for any reader with 8th grade or higher education. And it is small, relatively small. I have 49,000 words. But for
Okay.
those 49,000
I
words,
know.
I
It's a
have,
lot.
yeah, I have over 250 references. This is a huge for popular book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to work on decreasing the number of references. Actually, I cited usually just one reference for every item which should be discussed. I know scholars would be probably mad at me that I didn't cite sources enough, but it's a book for public.
That's excellent. There's no short, 50,000 words, 60,000 words. That's not a short amount of words. You talk to any author, there's a lot of love that goes into that writing. So you have a blog, and you do blog on your website at vtorvich.com, and you write about your career in physics, and you write about how you always was inclined to be creative. So it was very interesting to me when I saw that, because when somebody says they were in the field of physics, I don't often hear them talk about creativity. So do you think that the field that you were in for all those years really allowed for creativity, in such a heavy science environment?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a misconception for most people. Most people believe that creativity could be only if you work in arts, if you
Mm-hmm.
create pictures or novels or whatever it is, then you are creative. But anywhere else, there is not much creativity. That is not true. The work in science, in physics, biology, whatever it is, consists of two parts. First part is an actual work, and second part is publishing results of your work. Actual work could be routine or it could be creative. So yes and no here. It could be little creative or it could be very creative. The second part, publishing your work. To publish your work, you need to have some new material. Editors of scientific journals, if you don't have new material, they will just reject whatever you propose.
Right.
And the rules here are very strict. Editors have software which automatically will check what every sentence, every word in whatever you propose to publish, they will check for plagiarism. And they will check it across the board, not only in physics, but in biology, geology, whatever it is. So the rules for publishing a new material are even much more stricter than for rules for authors of novels.
Right.
You have to be creative here. Without creativity, you will not be published. Yeah.
Yeah.
The real question is how was your creativity big or small?
Mm-hmm.
I could give you some example. Everybody have been in thunderstorm. Everybody saw lightnings,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Lightning in the air has a very distinct, but it is the form is unpredictable, and you don't know when it strike and how it strike and what would be the exact form of this light, right? Everybody knows this. from physical standpoint, from physics standpoint, lightning is just electrical discharge. And this electrical discharge could happen not only in the air, it could happen on a surface. So lightning could happen on a surface. And there was time in my life with our team, we got a task to control lightning on a surface. So it was a big creative task because nobody in the history of humanity ever controls the lightning, right? So there were four of us. We were very young, very enthusiastic, and we did it. So we understood what we should do, and we did it. And the result was that we were able to create on the surface a lightning with the form we want. For example, we were able to create not the just line of the lightning, but a solid sheet of the lightning. Solid sheet, like you see the surface of the table, the same sheet, but just of light, of lightning, electric. Yep. Or we could make it whatever form we want, like zigzag.
Oh.
Or any other form we want. So you judge, is it a creativity or not?
I agree. So it's creative in multiple ways, right? So I work in accounting. I'm an accountant by day, and we find creative ways to solve problems all the time, even though we have, accounting is technically a science and there's rules. You have to find creative ways to problem solve. So I'm sure you had to use your creativity to solve that task or that problem, but you're also, sounds like you're using your creativity in writing to make sure that your work is different than everybody else's work that is out there. So that is, I guess it's all how you view the word creative being so much more than just artistic in nature. So what's next for you? Tell the audience what's next for you.
Yeah, I need to add to this piece about creativity. With what I said, I need to say that the most creative time in my life is right now, when I write in a book, not when I work in physics or whatever.
Yep.
So the writing process itself is very creative. You have to think about it all the time. There are some, for everybody, there are some preferences when the most interesting thoughts come out. For me, it was when I walk, I got a new insights what to write. Mm-hmm. So I completed my book. I edited it many times. So for now it is a different problem. The problem for non-fiction, and especially for non-narrative non-fiction, is that nobody from literary agents wants to look into it if you don't have a big internet presence. This is different for those who wrote novels. They didn't require to have a big, they prefer, but they didn't require. Yeah. Right. For non-fiction, they require. And because I didn't have any intention to write a book, I didn't have any presence. So right now my task is this one. Yeah,
getting your followers up.
Yeah, I started my Twitter just on August 1st. Right now I have about 3,000 followers, and I just recently opened up my blog. Yeah.
Yep. So, the blog is recent. So I let people know about that they can go out to the blog. And then your handle on Twitter is V Torvich with the V and the T capitalized. So people can find you on Twitter. But how have you been doing? What is it that you're doing to get your followers up? And do they have to be followers that are in your field, or is it more your presence overall has to be higher?
I did the research. What is a target? What my audience target? And I was able to do this research because The recent most successful books, there were several successful books which were dedicated not exactly to the same topic, history of humanity, but pretty close to this. And one of them was Yuval Harari, Brief History, Sapiens, Brief History.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of reviews on Amazon. So
Yep.
more than 1,000, yeah, several thousands. So using these reviews, I was able to find out who is my target audience. And my target audience is mostly men. Almost all of them are over 35-year-old. Almost all of them are professionals, so their education is college or higher. So this is my target audience. About 10% are women, about 10% are people who are younger than 35. But on Twitter, it's really hard to get this audience. So
Yep.
I started to get the audience whatever I get, and then I slowly moving into direction which is right for me.
Yeah.
And on a blog, it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But it doesn't matter. You know, this is a great conversation for people to listen to, because honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're writing fiction or nonfiction. It's not an easy task to find your audience,
Right.
to build that audience, to increase your numbers on social media, to increase your subscribers to your blog. None of that is an easy task, no matter what you're writing. It's definitely a challenge felt throughout the industry. So interesting to hear that you have the same problem the rest of us do, Victor, getting your numbers up, but keep getting on those follow loops, and I'll certainly keep adding you. We'll keep increasing your numbers. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Anything else you want to share with us before we say goodbye to the audience?
No, I just want to thank you very much. This is my first interview. I hope there will be more. But it is a new experience for me too. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a new experience. It's always great to have your first couple with people that you're friendly with on Twitter. It's a good environment to get these things going. So hopefully you worked out all the kinks, and the next interview will be something in your field, and hope to see that book published. Let us know. Keep us up to date on how that goes.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Victor, for joining me. Thanks everyone. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.